This week, we're diving back into Season 0, Chapter 4, The Man From Afar, where Val gets to know the people of Min's a bit better, but everything's not as it seems. I've worked with my audio artist, Zoran, to infuse this chapter with more magic, more wonder, and more incredible artistry. And along the way, we're taking a look back at the Seventh Valkyrie journey as we head on our way down the road to Season 3. Welcome to the Seventh Valkyrie Listen-Along. Let's rock and roll. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seventh Valkyrie Listen-Along. I'm your host, Colin Sharp, creator and current voice of the Seventh Valkyrie. If you're a new listener coming through the series for the first time, welcome. And if you're a grizzled hero of Vetera, it's great to have you back. Today's episode is Season 0, Chapter 4. The days go by. Spoiler warning, we'll be talking about stuff here. There's not much to spoil, but keeping it in. And I'm sure this spoiler warning will become more relevant as you guys are getting through the series. Anyway, let's start with our first segment, Inside the Episode, where we give a quick recap of everything that happened in this chapter. So Val gets ready and makes his way through the woods, and we get to see more details of this simple, rustic way of life he's adopted. And it's both his perspective and also how the people of Min's make things work. He gets to the house, Val banters with Ori and Goff, meets Kay and the kids, as well as Evan, who will become a character later on in the season. And they enjoy some good meat and good whiskey while we color in some of the details and texture of Min's, about Val's hunting, about how the hounds work with him, as well as kind of Val's awkward interactions with them. And that's actually something that I'll get to outside the episode. Anyway, finishing up the recap, despite the distance that exists between him and the Minzers in terms of their experience and what's going on and how he sees them, he still feels sort of an actual chill as he goes out into the winter woods, which isn't something. We saw him at the beginning of this episode bathing in ice water without even flinching. Maybe enjoying the presence of people for the first time in a while made the outside seem a little colder. And this is underscored by a moment of high tension in the woods. There is something out there wandering the forest at night, and we don't find out what it is yet. It disappears from beyond Edda and Rowan's tracking range, and then nothing. Anyway, let's get on into our next segment as we wrap up the recap and talk about things getting a little outside the episode, where we talk about. I give my commentary, sort of a director's commentary, color commentary, talking a little bit more about the journey that we're on and changes and blah, blah, blah. And I'll start off the bat and again give some huge props to Big Z for adding so much texture and dimension to Min's, the setting, the characters, the hounds. This is another episode that's sort of like last week's where physically, not a ton of activity happens and movement, but the interactions of the characters as they kind of proceed through this dinner and this evening does tell us a ton about the world. And having these little details, along with removing about another 7,000 instances of the words he said, makes a huge difference, especially, I think, with the hounds. Edda and Rowan, getting to hear them with getting them kind of vocalized in addition to their characterization was a really awesome touch that we didn't have originally. And despite all this, I want to get back to what I mentioned earlier, which is that Val is really strange to them and kind of awkward. Like, he's confident in himself, clearly, he lives alone. But when it comes to socializing, he's a little weird and kind of awkward. And it's easy to forget, since we've seen Val through the next couple seasons, that we're coming to him as he begins at an immensely vulnerable point. He's kind of trying to open up and build a new life, has just opened up to new people, kind of begrudgingly. And I love that detail that young Colin added, the winter felt cold for the first time. Like, he hasn't known for a really long while what it means to just sit and drink and hang out. Maybe not even since he's been here, and suddenly it changes how he views the world. But we know that there's danger on the horizon. And the delicate nature of that sweet, homey interaction only adds more contrast and weight to this threat that he senses. And while we'll discover more about all that in the chapters to come, for now, we will wrap up this chapter where Val leaves it a little uncertain, but certain that there's something worth protecting here. Anyway, so if you're itching to get ahead and you're itching to find out what happens next, you're not alone, and you can do that two ways. If you're on the public feed, you can just listen to the episodes as they were released right now, today, for free. Or, if you'd like to experience every episode with the full magic of the series, you can join us on Patreon as a hero of Edera and get exclusive access to the Season 0 and eventually Season 1 reimaginings weeks before they hit the public. Now, the choice is yours. Patreon supports us. The listing on the public feed supports you. Either way, we're all winning. And I'm just glad to have you guys along for the ride as we continue down this road towards Season 3. Hasta pronto, and see you guys next week.